All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And my sincerest apologies to Cynical Optimist. Shout out to Cynical Optimist. You are always the first one in. I appreciate the support. Guys, the work weeks are long, okay? They are draining, especially now commuting into the office. I think by day 3, my body and my mind start to feel it, and then with the work projects that I have when I get there by Wednesday, my mind is, and I do some live streaming throughout the week on my other channels. So by Wednesday, my mind has already started to. So long story short, when I set this stream up, when you're tired, you don't always see things. I thought that I set it up. I thought that I set it up for 10 to 10:15 a.m. this morning, but when I woke up, it said 8:10. So Cynical Optimist, I apologize for if you guys were here, and also Gold Professor. I apologize if you guys were here at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was just rolling out of bed at 8 o'clock in the morning. But I appreciate the support. Gold Professor says like button press on the way in. I'm still working on a time frame to interview you, Doc. Okay, yeah, let me know. Let me know, Gold Professor. Just that one stream you were doing on feet, that was, yeah, that really hit home for me. That's a timely topic, and I think you also did something else, but I could definitely talk to you a lot about feet and foot health. But I think you want to cover more things than just that. All right, let me get this thing cranking. We're gonna have another Black History inventors slash innovators lesson from my brother Amal before I jump into today's controversial topic. So let me play my intro, and then we'll get busy. I suspect I will wrap up probably around 11:30. It's 10:19 right now, unless Passport OG rolls in. His video is going to be the featured piece, and if he comes through, I like to allow him to give the benediction. The benediction. Shout out to Mr. Z if he chooses to do so. So I'll see you on the other side of my nameless protagonist introduction. Gotta get him back to talk more about the Mouse Utopia and other critical issues facing humanity. All right, where is it? There it is. So I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I think this is the significance of when you say the technology is running so far out ahead of the biology, right? Because it's almost shattering that part of our natural um, programming.
So what's going on, what that really talks to is the reason why it's done that way is our systems operate on a seniority-based modality. So the older the particular system we've adopted, the more powerful that neurological pathway and impulse. That's why these studies are critical. Everything in our biology is predicated on these kinds of principles. The reasons why we were able to evolve as a group, because there were certain things that we were able to lean on from the group aggregate existence that allows for us to do things as individuals that are defined as healthy. And when you begin to do wholesale swapping out on a 1-for-1 of social modality versus technological introduction, then you begin to atrophy a lot of these things and you start having deficiencies in ways you had no idea, or you get unintended emergent behavior, as we're seeing with the behavioral sinks, for example. It's all connected to social roles, in my subjective opinion.
Welcome to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. Science and technology stories are all around us, and there are always science and technology stories to tell.
There are always science and technology stories to tell. Oh, I'm gonna bring my brother Amal Dunbar up within the minute, but I'm gonna just as a preamble to that, I did an interview with someone's working on a documentary uh, regarding a black uh, history historian named Mother Eva Doyle from my home city of Buffalo, New York. There, and during that interview, I talked about my brother Amal and these AI offerings that he creates that we present to you all here on Saturday mornings. And I during that discussion, just in a brief way, I talked about how this is important because uh, uh, there have been so many Black inventors and creators who we who just aren't talked about, and that's in K through 12. That's at uh, Black History programs at churches when people were still going to church, and yeah, we hear so much about entertainers and politicians and clergymen and lawyers and athletes, and but we never hear about these people. So it's important to know what we've done, and that's important on so many levels. So with that, I'm going to bring up my brother Amal Dunbar. We're going to talk about I think a gentleman named Joseph Stannard. Good morning.
Morning, brother. Good to see
How's it
you.
going? Good to see you too.
Good man. Good man. Thanks for having me. Peace to the whole Big Discussion 76 Science and Technology family. Good to be here.
All right. Well, with that, you mentioned John Stannard, so we'll jump right in.
Okay, family. And Anwar, if you can pull up the AI art that I did on Instagram, that would be wonderful. So, Big Discussion Science and Technology family. This morning we're going to discuss John Stannard, which could also be pronounced Stannard. I'm not sure, but we're just gonna roll with Stannard just in case. So, John Stannard was born in 1868 in Newark, New Jersey. He is the son of Mary and Joseph Stannard. Stannard's improvements to kitchen appliances eventually led to further innovations in refrigerator and stove designs, which changed how people around the world stored and cooked their food. Throughout his career, Stannard defied racial norms of his time by delving into the scientific pursuits, the engineering of modern day kitchen appliances. He was fascinated by this. Okay. In his patent for the refrigerator, John Stannard declared that, quote unquote, this invention relates to improvements in refrigerators and is consisted of certain novel arrangements and combinations of parts. John said that he found a way to improve the design of refrigerators to a non-electrical and unpowered design. John's refrigerator, made in 1891, wow, used a manually filled ice chamber for chilling and was granted a patent on June 14th, 1891. Just imagine how long ago that was, family. A few years later, John Stannard continued working on innovations to improve the home kitchen, and his 1889 oil stove was a space-saving design that he suggested could be used for buffet-style meals on trains or in restaurants. And just to wrap up here, folks, John Stannard's work still matters today because he helped push home energy efficiency forward before energy efficiency even had a name or was a thing. His improved refrigerator design created a better insulated, more reliable cooling system at a time when most households relied on leaky, inconsistent ice boxes. Sinnard's innovations laid the groundwork for the modern cold chain that we use today, as food is transported from its source or its source manufacturer, on the roads with refrigerated trucks to restaurants, or quite possibly biomedical transport, which has quantum leaped global supply chains. His inventions started off as just keeping food cold as it needs to be until it's ready to be prepared, to those same principles were then transferred to transferring medical supplies, more than likely blood and organs. So John Stannard's approach to sealing, insulation, and practical design echoes through every high energy appliance on the market, proving that a single breakthrough in household technology can ripple across society and the world. So, Anwar, if you can just click through the slides. Yeah, the AI artwork came out really, really well. Some of these images, really capture the fashion, of that era, of the late 1800s. Next slide, please. Yeah, it seems as though John was fascinated by making sure that refrigerators or cold storage was somehow sealed and insulated. Next slide, please. Which by today's modern standards, we couldn't imagine refrigerators or freezers leaking. We automatically, like, we're so trained that when we see some type of a puddle, below a refrigerator or a freezer, we know that something's wrong. And so, credit to John Stannard to shore up, cold storage and making sure that fluids and moisture stays inside to keep our foods cold until ready for preparation. Next slide, please. Yeah, some of this AI art came out really nice, really nicely. Really captures the fashions and quote unquote fits of that era. Nice. Yeah, that large flag in the back looks really nice, really cool, powerful.
Okay. Well, yeah, as you were explaining that, I was thinking when you mentioned biomedical as
Transport.
well, biomedical transport, and also, yeah, so I'm thinking about the transportation of hearts for transplant, kidneys for transplant. His initial interest was refrigeration of food, but Don Calypso is here in the chat. He's also, I think his background is also in the biomedical research sciences, like mine. My background is, in that instance, we're dealing with proteins and DNA and sometimes animal tissues. Our entire research was predicated upon being able to freeze things at -80 and -40 and have certain experiments going,
Wow.
uh, dialyses going all night long at refrigerated temperatures.
Wow.
So much of the research that we've done, much of the research that big pharma and the chemical industry that they do, all of that is in large part impacted by refrigeration technology. So,
Very
so
good.
it looks like his initial interest was in food preservation, but as you described, it as with any technology, it has so many more applications. Charles Drew's blood bank, that's refrigeration technology, preserving the blood so that it could be used for later use. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Bro, do you
Before,
have
sorry, bro.
anything else you want to share or expound upon regarding this?
Well, I would only add that at some point, these products had to be not only designed, but they had to be manufactured, which leads into job creation. And so there's not just job creation within factories, but job creation around the world. So these products may not have just been manufactured in America, but they were manufactured across the world. So there's a large implication of job creation by these products. Then I want to also close by saying that in terms of African American inventors or foundational Black American inventors, in the mid to late 1800s, the documentation of their photographs was not handled properly. So that image that we're looking at right there may not be John Stannard. That could be someone else. So just just putting that out there that might not be him.
Okay.
But the AI images came out great, and those will eventually wind up on T-shirts and in calendars, which is on the way. Okay.
Okay. Let me. All right. So thank you for that. Thank you for doing this. Do you have anything else that you want to say before we end this segment?
No, bro. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate you. And at some point, I will debut some of those images on T-shirts and in calendars right here on Big Discussions 76 Science and Technology.
All right. Well, once again, thanks, bro. And we're bros, so we'll be in touch about family business and all kinds of things offline.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sir. All right, bro.
Have a good one.
Peace.
All right. Everybody, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, estoy aquí. I am here. All right, our resident George Lucas / Steven Spielberg / Ryan Coogler has entered the chat. Uh, PassportOG. I don't have an official. There should be an official intro for you and your videos, but I'm gonna do the 20th Century Fox Star Wars thing for you right now. Okay, so I'm going to explain why I'm doing this for PassportOG. Dun, 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 dun. All right, we are about to watch a PassportOG special. This guy, he does this every day. He makes these very eloquent, exquisite videos on culture, on society, in many ways. Not in many ways, in like what's going wrong with gender. Okay, and there are a lot of things going wrong with gender, culture, and society. That was alluded to in my intro from the nameless protagonist. But I'm gonna highlight this comment, two comments here from Don Calypso, a fellow STEM guy. I mentioned this when me and my brother were talking. Don Calypso says, "Howdy, Dr. Goodbar. Indeed, there is such a thing as andropause, but it is not as drastic as menopause in women and doesn't involve the same wild hormonal fluctuations." And then I responded, I said, "Peace, Don Calypso. Thank you for that insight into this very controversial topic." And Don Calypso says, "I don't see why it is controversial, just human biology. The only controversy is that biology doesn't conform to the feminist ideology." So I think that's a good jumping off point, because this is in fact now a controversial topic with the social reengineering. Okay, and you can get in trouble today for even saying that, the social and the cultural reengineering. Um, why do we even care about andropause and menopause today? Well, the stats show that, and this is not me saying it, but uh, women, we're a sexual species. That's just biology. Human beings are mammals. We're a sexual species, and there's an optimal time to consider procreation. Okay, and then there's a less than optimal time, and the optimal time is when both genders are younger in their lifespans and their reproductive cycles. Okay, in this modern technical construct, and now this modern progressive technical construct that we're living in, there's been a re-engineering to do things later, particularly on the female side. As men, you can't if in this era, if a woman is choosing with her biology to wait longer, to use that biology to procreate, you can't do anything about that. So if she's waiting later, you inevitably have to wait later as well. And also, there's a lot of good work here on YouTube saying that in terms of becoming a uh, uh, what's Scott Galloway's economically viable. He's making the rounds too. Professor Scott Galloway. There's a huge thing going on with gender and men falling out and men just losing interest in this whole game. To become a economically viable male, that tends to happen later for men. Okay. And so by the time they become quote unquote economically viable, shout out to Dr. Scott Galloway, Professor Scott Galloway. I always have to address him by his proper title, Professor Scott Galloway. For a man to become economically viable when he is, which makes him the most desirable, he's typically a little older. So then the quagmire is at that point, his peers, the ladies in his cohort, if he hasn't already reproduced, they're older, okay? And those economically viable men tend to like younger ladies, okay? So for most of my lifetime, the understanding has been that women have a particular reproductive window. In my federal capacity, I won't go into what that is. That's understood to be 13 to 49 years of age. Okay, in my current capacity, that's the in terms of protecting human health, we're concerned with that age range, 13 to 49. The science has shown that the most optimal time for a woman is 13 to her mid 20s. Okay, and now we have with this re-engineering, and you can get in trouble for saying re-engineering. Now we're having the rise of, well, men have a biological clock as well. Okay, and I think that that's consistent with the effort to try to level set everything. Let's make everything equal between the two genders. Okay, if women have a biological clock, men have a biological clock too. So where this is ultimately going to go is you're too old as a man to be trying to reproduce because your sperm is defective. There aren't as many of them, and you're just too old to be trying that. You shouldn't be worried about that anymore. Okay, that's where this type of thing, if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, that's where this is pointing. In addition to saying that, well, men and women, once again, we're the same. There aren't many differences. It's a blank slate, and all of these things are societal constructs. Okay, so consistent with my discussions with the nameless protagonist, it's the science clashing with progressive social and cultural ideas and ideologies. We're at a real crossroads slash breaking point slash we're at a real cataclysm in society and culture, at least in the Western countries. So PassportOG created a marvelous, brilliant video about male menopause, and he clipped off several clips from social media, highlighting ladies, younger ladies in particular, celebrating the fact that now there's a male menopause. So I'm going to show PassportOG's video, and then there are two pieces I'm going to sprint through from the Mayo Clinic and also the business standard piece that is highlighted in the video. And then I found some examples of older men having children. These are all celebrities. So just like these are celebrities, right? So just like, thinking about Magic Johnson being able to beat HIV, look at this with a grain of salt. If you're a celebrity, if you're in Hollywood, you have millions of dollars to dump into your fertility, much the same way Magic had millions of dollars to dump into his HIV medication. One person, the last person I'm going to show, he's not a celebrity. I think he had an accident. But look around you, and well, how many older men have had accidents in your social circle, or in your family, or in a friend's family? All right, let's get to this finely crafted video by the PassportOG. I have another PhD scholar, Dr. L, on my main channel tomorrow around 3:30. If you all are not busy, please join us. Otherwise, you can be a part of the replay gang. And some of what we're going to talk about tomorrow is going to dovetail into this waiting later thing, and why has this waiting later thing? Why has this become a thing? And also, a couple of years ago, I was involved with someone who questioned why I cover topics like this. What was my interest in freezing eggs and Ebony K. Williams and the cost of freezing eggs. Well, these are modern scientific topics. These are current events. These are events unfolding around us and impacting our lives, our bloodlines, our families. And this is a science channel. And I cover topics like this. So there. Shout out to the PassportOG. This now has 301 likes. Fair use. Fair use. If anyone wants to throw anything in the collection plate there, my information is in the ticker. All right, let me, that's the one I wanted to. Okay, come on, StreamYard, come on. Project that for us, project it. Let's try it again. Share screen. Okay, there we are. So let's do the full screen. And on with our feature presentation. Fair use.
I'm walking down the street, minding my own business, just walking along, feeling good. I walk around the corner, man woke up, hit me in my chest, right? I fall on the ground, right? And I look up, it's Dr. Martin Luther King. I said, Dr. King. He said, oops, I thought you were somebody else. Oh, man, you lying. You ain't never met Martin Luther King.
You know how men always say, like, oh, women have a biological clock, like, oh my gosh, like, no, actually women don't have a biological clock, it's actually men.
Pound for pound, Sugar Ray Robinson, the greatest fighter ever lived. Oh, come on, man, what about Joe Louis?
Whenever we talk about biological clocks, we're always talking about a woman's biological clock, but I think we need to start talking about a men's biological clock because they're running out of time too.
The Blonde Bomber. Now that was a great boxer.
You damn right.
Women over the age of 40, 45, definitely older than that. You need to hear this. Men think that at any stage of life, if they don't have children, they've never been married, it is a badge of honor. I'm here to tell you that that is not true.
I'm just saying I stopped liking Cassius Clay once you changed the name to Muhammad Ali.
Today, we are cracking open one of the greatest myths of all time. Only women have a biological clock. Who started this rumor? Who printed this misinformation? Who convinced men that their reproductive system was built different? Gentlemen, please gather around. It's time to face reality. Your biological clock is not only ticking, it's sprinting faster than Usain Bolt at the Olympics.
His mama named Clay.
That part right there, I want to go back to that part. Who convinced men that the reproductive system was built different?
Biological clock. Who started this rumor? Who printed this misinformation? Who convinced men that their reproductive system was built different?
Well, let's take a look at a visual here. I just happen to have it queued up. Who convinced men that the reproductive system was built different? The seminal vesicle, the prostate gland, vas deferens, scrotum, testicles. On one side, uterus, fallopian tubes, ovary, cervix, vagina. On the other side, who convinced men that the reproductive systems were built different? Fair use, fair use.
Gentlemen, please gather around. It's time to face reality. Your biological clock is not only ticking, it's sprinting faster than Usain Bolt at the Olympics.
His mama named Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
It is important that before you comment and claim that I am misleading and I'm not providing facts, you actually know the facts. My brother, the best period for a man to produce healthy sperm is by the age of 25.
He is Clay. He Clay to me. I say Clay.
So please, dear men, you have a biological clock. Like I said previously, science was not available to indicate and explain men's biological clock. But the older men get, their sperm viability and the quality of that sperm reduces. Men who are older are likely to father children who have Down syndrome and special needs children.
You must be out of your goddamn mind. Joe Louis, the greatest boxer ever lived.
Did anyone see this article from the Business Standard that basically says that men have biological clock. It's not just women, and that it's been a half-truth that it's women that have a biological clock, that men also have some play in it as well. So apparently it starts close to around like late 30s or in their 40s when their sperm quality is bad.
He was bad in Captain Clay. He bad in Sugar Ray. He bad in that. Who that? The new boy had Mike Tyson look like a bulldog. He bad in him too.
The idea that women have a biological clock is starting to be dismantled. I'm so excited about this research. Human eggs don't accumulate as much or as many mutations with age as we thought. So all of the shame about, well, you better settle down, you're getting older, is not as correct as we've been told. What we
is not as correct as we've been told. Okay, so there are fewer mutations with eggs as they age. But then the other question is, how many eggs, as a woman goes on, how many eggs does she have left? Also, how able is she to maintain a pregnancy? Okay, and do her mechanisms eventually shut down altogether? Okay, I think these are some of the more nuanced questions that need to be asked when this type of argument is being passionately asserted. Okay. Fair use.
do know is that men's sperm, as they age, becomes less safe to reproduce with.
He whip Mike Tyson there. He whip all their asses.
I've always said that biologically women should be dating younger men. It shouldn't be the other way around. There are biological reasons for it, and I'll explain. First of all, we've all heard the news about a 2025 study showing that the DNA in human eggs doesn't accumulate as many mutations from maternal age as they traditionally expected from a lot of male-centric data that they collected. However, the sperm does accumulate damage over time, including DNA fragmentation, oxidative damage, and epigenetic changes. So these can actually contribute to higher rates of miscarriage or issues in the pregnancy.
What about Rocky Marciano?
They finally decided to start studying women's bodies, and guess what they found out? That whole scary female biological clock thing, turns out it's not us, it's the men. Yes, we are born with all of our eggs, and yes, they decline over time, but new research has now shown that our eggs are actually protected from certain age and damage. Meanwhile, sperm gets worse and worse every single year. Slower swimmers, more DNA damage, and less volume. By 40, miscarriage risks go up, and by 45, IVF success rates drop, even if the woman's eggs are young.
There they go. Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass.
I'm going to highlight this comment from Don Calypso. Thank you for this. He says, by age 35, aren't women only down to about 10% or less of the eggs they had at birth? Okay.
Did you know that men go through their version of menopause called andropause? But it starts at age 30. Not 40 like us with perimenopause and eventually into our 50s when menopause actually sets in.
Can you guys, for this particular lady, can you glean the happiness that she's speaking this with? There's this gotcha, this is so exciting. This is great. And I've noticed, this is anecdotal. I don't know. There's a different fascination with age on both sides of the gender. And I think a lot of the ladies that I've met are a little more cynical about getting older. And when you talk about age with them, they'll go ahead and they'll poke you, but you're getting older. So I just want to, there's a particular joy she's having in saying this. Okay.
Theirs starts at age 30.
That's the one. Rocky Marciano.
with a steady decline in their testosterone, they develop a cluster of symptoms called irritable male syndrome.
He beat Joe Lewis's ass.
That's right, he did whoop Joe Lewis' ass. Joe Lewis was 75 years old when he fought. I don't know how old he was, but he got his ass whooped.
So all this time, we were raised to believe that we are the hormonal ones. We are the emotional ones, the irrational ones, driven by our hormones.
Okay. Is any of that untrue? Is any of that untrue?
But all of their aggression, irrationality, and irritability comes as a result of their version of their own menopause at 30.
Joe Lewis had come out of retirement to fight Rocky Marciano. The man was 76 years old.
What are they going to say when they find?
So is that true? Do we as men become irrational and irritable around age 30? Is that true?
Find out about the study that just came out showing that the DNA in women's eggs basically stay the same their entire lives. However, men's sperm degrade as they get older. That's right, men have a biological clock. If you ever wanted to be a dad to a happy, healthy baby, the clock is ticking.
How old is Joe Lewis? You know what Frank told me? He said, hey, Joe Lewis 137 years old.
Research is in, and it has found that as men cross into their 40s, there is a measurable increase in DNA fragmentation, mutation, and oxidative damage to sperm. And that doesn't just mean a drop in fertility. It means that men, as they get into their 40s, may still be able to conceive naturally, but it raises the risk of genetic anomalies, slower development, and even some health outcomes in their offspring. Imagine everything our ancestors went through just for scientists to finally prove not only is it the male who contributes to what the gender of the child ends up being, but the overall health, the development of the fetus, all of this can be linked back to poor sperm from the male.
Oh man, you ain't never meet no Frank Sinatra.
You know how men have been brainwashed in believing that they do not have a biological clock? And because of that, a lot of men choose to date women that are 10, 15, 20 years younger than them because they think, well, I can just get pregnant as long as I have a younger woman.
You know, sweet, I met Dr. Martin Luther King once.
And you lying, you ain't never met Dr. Martin Luther King.
Now that we know that it's actually their sperm that declines as they age and their mitochondrial DNA declines, and our mitochondrial DNA and our eggs don't decline as we age, does that mean it's going to be flipped back?
Yeah, I met Dr. Martin Luther King in 1962 in Memphis, Tennessee.
It's going to be like re-inverted, if that makes sense, where now women are going to be like, no, I want younger men.
Okay, I said, Dr. King. He said, oops, I thought you were somebody else.
Like a 40, 50-year-old woman is going to start dating like 20 to 30-year-old men.
But then at that point, a 40 to 50-year-old woman, how likely would she be to be able to reproduce for that younger man? Very interesting discussion here.
Because we know that they actually get more geriatric and that their value declines as they age.
Oh man, you lying. You ain't never met Martin Luther King.
Of course, I've never met Martin Luther King either. I'm far too young, but one thing we can agree on is that he marched on Washington. He advocated for sanitation workers getting better pay. He advocated against the war at the time. That's what happens when you have a common set of agreed upon facts. We can all agree upon the idea of what his life was and what his legacy continues to be. But what happens in a society or in a situation where you don't have any common agreed upon facts anymore? What we heard from many of the young ladies in this video is that they're essentially adopting the idea that men have a biological clock that is similar to theirs. Now, we can argue that point, but if you're a young 23, 25, 30-year-old guy and you open TikTok, you could be vulnerable to the fact that I have to hurry up and choose someone because my clock mirrors a woman's clock. Now, we can argue about the facts. I personally believe, at least what I've seen, that men's financial and maybe even like reproductive prime can extend well into a man's 50s. But that said, if the environment around us is going to essentially tell men, and even men in their 40s and 50s, you have to hurry up and choose one of us. What it really screams or tells is there's manipulation everywhere. And when there's manipulation everywhere, you simply have to reevaluate the environment that you're in. When young ladies are simply saying you're not going to have a chance to be a father, or your swimmers don't have the power that they used to or the speed that they used to, some guys might get affected by this and, quite frankly, be manipulated. They might think that I have to hurry up and choose someone. Or even a younger man that's, before he hits his financial prime, is thinking, if I don't hurry up and choose one of these young ladies or middle-aged ladies, I'm going to miss my window. And that is the most insidious part of all of this. It's like a barbershop. Except in the barbershop, we know everyone is kidding. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care.
I'm walking down the street, minding my...
Everybody, let's give a digital round of applause to PassportOG for creating that. The first time I watched that, it was like nails going across a chalkboard. But you know, when you take the emotion out of it, you know, you think about what the facts are and what the science says and what you've seen around you and what you know, you become a little less, you know, you hear a little less of those nails going across the chalkboard. But clearly those videos were to trigger, and as PassportOG said, induce, change the way we look at things, put pressure on men, level set everything to say, okay, well, men and women, they're on the same playing field with this, and to attempt to alleviate any anxiety that women have felt about having a biological clock. So, salute the PassportOG. I have two pieces I'm gonna read for you guys here. One is the basic standard article. I went ahead and I pulled it. I would encourage everybody watching this, do your own research, look at what's known, and do your own research. Okay. Let's see. I was going to read the Mayo Clinic piece first. These are all short, but since that video was centered on the basic standard piece that those ladies were so excited about, let's focus on this one first. All right. I'm sorry, the business standard, not the basic standard, the business standard. You guys keep letting me know what you think there in the chat, and thank you to PassportOG for doing that one. He does a lot of great work capturing all this stuff, and he does it daily. Okay. This is a science channel. Okay, there it is. Okay, let me put my there. All right, let's go back here. All right. And this link is below in the description box, so long as YouTube doesn't scrub it out. Biological clock, not just for women. Research finds men. Okay. But again, a man's reproductive system doesn't completely shut off. I think that's, for me, that's the bottom line. The 2025 study found that advanced paternal age significantly raises the likelihood of pregnancy complications and developmental disorders, further confirming that men too face a biological time limit on their reproductive capabilities. Okay. For years, the concept of a biological clock has largely been associated with women. The idea that egg quality declines rapidly after the mid-30s, making the conception harder, and pregnancies riskier. But emerging scientific evidence now shows the narrative may, that's the operative word there, may have only been half the truth. Men too have a biological clock as their sperm quality deteriorates with age. According to new research published in the Science Advances and reported by the Times of India and New Scientist report, human eggs appear far more resilient to age-related mutations than previously believed, while men's sperm cells show a clear decline in quality over time. Let's see, human eggs may not age the way we thought. Researchers at Penn State University found that human eggs do not accumulate mitochondrial mutations with age, a type of genetic damage long thought to be a major reason behind women's declining fertility. Okay, my understanding was that her declining fertility had much to do with the changes in her endocrinology. Okay, the inability to generate as much progesterone that is needed to sustain the uterus, the placenta. Okay, I thought that was the big thing, and also apparently she loses eggs. She loses total eggs as the years progress. Okay, but expectation is not necessarily truth. The study, which examined 80 eggs from 22 women aged 20 to 42, found that mitochondrial mutations remain stable across all ages, unlike in blood or saliva, which accumulated 17 to 24 times more mutations. I think that we evolved a mechanism to somehow look lower our mutation burden. Ruth Lehman, a biologist at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology who was not involved in the research, explained the oocyte egg provides the stockpile. The findings challenged the long-held assumption that older women pass on more mitochondrial mutations to their offspring. Previous research on macaques also revealed similar results. Mitochondrial mutations in eggs increased only up to the animal's reproductive prime around age 9 and then remain constant. It would be interesting to also look at younger women. This might also be the case in humans, said Barbara R. Bethuber of Johannes Kepler University, Linz, Austria, a member of the research team. The overlooked male clock. Okay, while women's eggs seem remarkably stable in their mitochondrial quality, studies show that men's sperm quality deteriorates with age, leading to increased risks of infertility, miscarriages, and even neurodevelopmental disorders such as autism in children. The process of continuous sperm regeneration means genetic errors can accumulate over time, resulting in DNA mutations and negatively impact both fertility and offspring health. The operative word there I'm seeing is can, which is not an absolute. The 2025 study found that advanced paternal age significantly raises the likelihood of pregnancy complications and developmental disorders, further confirming that men too face a biological time limit on their reproductive capabilities. Why this matters. The findings mark a shift in understanding of human fertility. The findings mark a shift in understanding human fertility. While women's egg mitochondria remain stable for decades, their fertility can still decline due to mutations in nuclear DNA. Meanwhile, men's reproductive cells undergo a gradual decline in genetic quality with age. This means fertility concerns are not exclusive to women, Both partners play a biological role in conception, success, and offspring health. Men who delay fatherhood may face increased risks similar to those women encounter as they age. In short, the biological clock ticks for both, just in different ways. Disclaimer, this article is informational only and is not a substitute for medical advice. All right. I have one more. Let's see. I'm going to read your last comment, Don Calypso. I'll go over the others at the end. He says, Dr. Goodbar, reduced mitochondrial quality in sperm is a moot point because sperm mitochondria do not fuse with the eggs. All mitochondria in mammals comes from the egg cells. Thank you for that, Don Calypso. I did want to read a piece here about andropause, because I've described here that as men, as Black men, it's important for us to maintain our health as much as we can as we get older. Diet, exercise, lifestyle. So I do believe some things can be maintained. All right, this is from the Mayo Clinic. So this is from an actual medical organization. This is entitled Male Menopause, Myth or Reality? Okay, hormone changes related to aging in men are different from those in women. Understand the signs, symptoms, and treatments. This is by the Mayo Clinic staff. Guys, please smash that like button if anyone wants to donate something to the channel. My information is there in the ticker. Let's see. Hormone changes are a natural part of aging, but they differ between men and women. In women, reproductive hormones drop dramatically. In men, the drop in hormone levels happens slowly. Here's what you need to know. Let me read that again. Hormone changes are a natural part of aging, but they differ between men and women. They differ between men and women. They differ between men and women. Shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson. In women, reproductive hormones drop dramatically. In men, the drop in hormone levels happens slowly. Here's what you need to know. Debunking the male menopause myth. The term male menopause has been used to describe decreasing testosterone levels related to aging, but aging-related hormone changes differ between men and women. In women, ovulation ends and hormone production falls over a fairly short amount of time. This is called menopause. In men, the production of testosterone and other hormones goes down over many years. This gradual fall of testosterone levels is called late onset hypogonadism. Sometimes it's called age-related low testosterone. Not everyone with age-related low testosterone has symptoms. Its long-term effects also aren't clear. Recognizing low testosterone levels. Men's testosterone levels generally fall about 1% a year after age 40, but most older men still have testosterone levels within the standard range. Only about 10% to 25% of men have levels thought to be low. Low testosterone levels in older men often go unnoticed. A blood test can check testosterone levels, but tests aren't often done. And many men who have low testosterone levels have no symptoms. Also, the signs and symptoms related to low testosterone aren't specific to low testosterone. A person's age, medicines, or other conditions can also cause symptoms. For example, having a body mass index of 30 or higher can cause symptoms like like those of low testosterone. Symptoms that suggest low testosterone include lowered sexual desire and activity, erectile dysfunction or decreased erections, breast tenderness or swelling, infertility, height loss, low trauma, broken bones, called fractures, or low bone mineral density, hot flashes or sweats. Other symptoms include having less energy, motivation, and confidence. Some men feel depressed and have trouble focusing. It's possible to have a rise in sleepiness and sleep disturbances. Symptoms include mild unexplained anemia, low muscle mass and strength, and more body fat. Experts suggest only testing older men for low testosterone if they have symptoms. If the first test shows low testosterone, experts suggest repeating the test to confirm the results. Your healthcare professional may look for conditions that can cause low testosterone, including obstructive sleep apnea, obesity, stress from a serious illness, surgery, or staying in the hospital, medications such as opioid pain relievers. Treating these conditions can return testosterone levels to the regular range. If you have low testosterone, you'll likely have more testing of the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is a kidney bean-sized gland that sits at the base of the brain. It is part of the body's endocrine system. The system includes all the glands that make and control hormones. Healthcare professionals use pituitary gland testing to help find out whether the low testosterone is due to aging. Testing also can rule out low levels of other hormones. How many of you guys are still here? Oh, 11. All right. Guys, this is almost done. I promise it's almost done. And I'm going to wrap the stream up. It is 11:19. I was predicting 11:30 when I would wrap up. So we're on schedule. Treatment recommendations for older men with low testosterone. Recommendations on testosterone therapy for men with age-related low testosterone vary. In 2020, the American College of Physicians recommended that healthcare professionals think about starting testosterone treatment in men with sexual dysfunction who want to improve their sexual function after explaining the risks and benefits. In 2018, the Endocrine Society recommended testosterone therapy for men with age-related low testosterone who have symptoms related to low testosterone. Some experts also recommend offering testosterone treatment to men with age-related low testosterone who have no symptoms. If you choose to start testosterone therapy, your healthcare professionals talks with you about different ways you can take it. You may also talk about target levels and the need to follow up testing. Let me see how much is left here. Yeah, that's the end. Let's finish this up. For some men, testosterone therapy eases bothersome symptoms of low testosterone. For others, the benefits aren't clear. There are possible risks too. Though more research is needed, testosterone therapy might raise the risk of prostate and breast cancer. Testosterone therapy also has been linked to blood clots, the veins. It may also raise the risk of heart attack and stroke, but more research is needed. Your healthcare professional may tell you not to start testosterone therapy if your fertility is likely to be important in the near future. Other reasons your healthcare professional may recommend against testosterone therapy include a history of breast or prostate cancer, untreated severe obstructive sleep apnea, uncontrolled heart failure, which lowers the heart's ability to pump blood, history of blood clots in the legs or lungs, recent heart attack or stroke. If you think you might have low testosterone, talk with your healthcare professional about your symptoms, testing, and possible treatments. Your healthcare professional can help you weigh the pros and cons of treatment. Okay. So this is from the Mayo Clinic. All right. So you have a couple things going on there. Okay. So the Business Standard piece was arguing for, even though sperm, I'm glitching there. my computer just updated, so it should be running fine. The business standard piece made the argument that while sperm continues to be produced, there may be defects in those sperm. Okay. This piece we just looked at from the Mayo Clinic said that yes, testosterone does tend to taper off beyond the age of 40, but it's not a drastic shutting down of the sex hormones as is on the female side. Okay. And we know that men have and can continue having children into their 50s and beyond. Now let's look at some examples. I'll hang on for a few more minutes, guys. But let's see. Then I need to get ready for the Michigan game at noon. So I'm going to pin this here. Close that. I know somebody's probably going to wander over here once this is up and saying, no, there are two clocks. You guys are on a clock too. I think it's more nuanced, as a lot of things are. It's more nuanced than that. That's pinned in the chat if anyone wants to come and say a few words. PassportOG, if you want to come and give the benediction. Shout out to Mr. Z. So I just did a quick Google search. Again, guys, these are celebrities. They have millions of dollars. The last person was more of a politician and a politician slash a clergyman. A quick Google search here. Men. Smartphone was doing something. Men who men having children at older ages is a growing trend. Okay, yeah, men having children at older ages is a growing trend seen in both celebrities like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, as well as the general population. Okay. While men don't experience menopause, male fertility does decline after age 35, and advanced paternal age is associated with a slightly increased risk of certain health conditions in children. Reasons for the trend include career focus, economic factors, and later marriages, okay, which I imagine are a large part influenced by, in our time, women opting to try this later. Okay, guys, give me a second here. So let's see. Celebrities and older fathers. Robert De Niro welcomed his seventh child at age 79. Al Pacino fathered his fourth child at age 82. Jeff Goldblum became a first-time father at 62. Kelsey Grammer had a child when he was 70. David Foster had his sixth child at 71. Okay. Trends and reasons for delaying fatherhood. A growing trend. The average age for fathers has increased. And approximately 9% of births in the U.S. involve men over 40. Economic and career focus. Many men wait due to career advancement, difficulty buying a home when younger, and economic reasons. Remarriage, second marriages often contribute to men having children later in life. Where I'm thinking about Brian McKnight. PassportOG made a video on him. Increased lifespan, men feeling healthier and living longer contributes to decisions to start older fathers. Okay, I think we went over all of this, but I'll do it briefly. Health considerations for older fathers. Male fertility decline. While not as sudden as female menopause, male fertility starts to decline around the mid-30s, with a steeper drop after 40. Health risks for children. Advanced paternal age is linked to a slightly increased risk of certain conditions in children, including autism, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. Partners' health. Studies show that partners of men over 45 are more likely to develop gestational diabetes. I don't know what that's about. Higher risk of genetic mutations. Over time, sperm accumulate more genetic mutations, which can increase the risks for offspring. And then the last one I'll share, guys, is this one. I'm sure everyone remembers this one. Outkast made a song about it. Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson, presidential candidate, Jesse Jackson, keep hope alive. Jesse Jackson was 59 years old when his last child, Ashley Jackson, was born in May 1999. He was 59 years old when he had his latest child with Karen Stanford. Okay, so Jesse was 59. Okay. I'm not celebrating that. I'm just highlighting it. I'm sure people are embarrassed. Some people are embarrassed about that. Chaos dropped. So I will bring PassportOG to do the benediction, and then I will wrap this up. Good morning, sir.
Salute, Doc.
Digital bow.
Well, I think what I find most interesting about what you're talking about is the hard science would just say, do a study with a control and just find a group of men that are over 50 or 60 or whatever, and see what percentage of those children had whatever effect, right? But if the whole point of the study is to try and reinforce an idea that men and women have the same path, then you would find a reason not to do that study, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like as things become more quote unquote feminized, you try and find arguments against what might be the actual truth. Because if you do enough studies, you're going to get a line that you can extrapolate from and say, this is the general trend. But if you have enough scientists that are wanting a certain effect, they're just going to say, you can't do that study because it's sexist. And that's kind of sort of what it sounds like.
Okay. Chaos Rain, do you have something you want to add to this topic?
Oh, yes, I do. Hello, good morning, Dr. Dunbar. I'm glad that you are covering the videos that's been popping on TikTok about women continue on the carousel and tell men, say, have children now while I continue to go on the ride, My thing is this. In this society today, as we know it, we all know, gentlemen, no one gives a F about men's health, physically, mentally, and sexually, unfortunately. When you see these videos pop up now, there's always an ulterior motive. I once sent a message to BJS about this, and he laughed because I just heard about this, right? And my thoughts, especially, because one, men have been using the mics now to tell women respectfully, with information, in fact, from their own studies, that it's not good for you to be out here if either you have kids or not, or you're trying to wait to find a perfect mate to now get at a certain point in life to now say start to roll these children out. And know that, especially with certain groups of women, especially Black women, is very high risk, especially mortality rate. Once they hit somewhere around, let's say a good 35, they could probably get around 33. So usually 35 is where it gets very iffy with them. So for them now to go around and say that now to a lot of men, is because most men that, let's say, had to take time to, get themselves to some position, they're not going to go back and pick under the what they call it, the leaves of women that their age or maybe a year or 5 years older or whatever you're going to call it. So now they have to sit to turn to these newer tactics, say, no, man, no, if you're old, don't even go mess with these young women, because we can understand why, because you're going to make your children look dumb and stuff. And we all know, most men we know that are older, either celebrity or not, have kids that's your age. I don't know if you're 50, PassportOG, and I know you're not 50 yet, Dr. Dunbar, that had, first kid, or maybe have like a kid already that, eventually. So it is, unfortunately, propaganda as best as I see it. Now, in regards to the men menopause, that's something new. I could probably look into that. But I know, with the society, they are constantly, infecting the gender roles, both psychologically, spiritually, and we can say even biologically now. To the point now, they have to play these psyop games, to cause more confusion to the population already. One, this might affect men that's not really paying attention to the game, to what's going on. And this is to women that's either out here having fun and want to still wait to have kids and say, now I have something against these men that I can use against you now. And yes, nah, boo-boo. That's fine if you already have kids, but if you don't have the kids, baby, you put yourself high risk regardless. Now, the funny thing about this, I'm not sure if you played it, was one woman talking about, say, if older women should seek younger men. You're already doing that, baby. I mean, most men nowadays not know who these kids are from certain men anyway. So if your woman has a very sexual appetite, you're going to be messing around with any man you see coming. And you're usually not going to worry about or focus mostly on the age. You hear something a woman said, I can't get these young dudes off me. Yeah, because young dudes at a point want intercourse. Nothing more, nothing less. And once they get their needs met, they might be going to veer off the next one. But you don't really care anyway, because you want to get your rocks off. So this plot right here, posing about the male, have kids now and all that stuff, it's just another smoke screen, unfortunately. I would have taken more seriously if this information was on even playing field 20, 30 years ago, but it wasn't. It's now been circling now for like last month or so. So I always look at a bigger agenda that they have to do some things to push back, because a lot of women don't want to hear no man tell them that, you're old, you're washed, you hit the wall. They're tired of that. Let me tell you something. Shaming does work. I thought it never worked, but when I look at it overall, and PassportOG could vouch this, that if you don't shame somebody, someone's not going to really think twice or really, think hardly what they're doing. So if they want to continue on this projection to really, tell men that why they go around, mess around, sleep with men and men, and, eventually will hold out to get knocked up. Good luck to you, sweetie. God bless you. And now here's where it's saying about this, Dr. Bar. A lot of women are freezing more of the eggs that got the money. You ever notice that? Some now just exploring that now.
Yeah, that's I think Ebony, and I need to wrap up soon, Chaos. Ebony helped champion that, Ebony K. Williams. So that's a prevalent strategy today.
Yeah, and they get that because women watch other women, they watch TV and say, I could do that. And I say, you don't got Ebony K money, sweetie. You can't do that. So that's pretty much it. I wish everybody else had some thoughts, but the silence speaks for itself that most men are not buying it. That's how I see it. In my opinion.
Okay. All right, thanks, Chaos. I'm gonna have PassportOG give the final words, and I'm gonna have to run. Thank you.
Oh, well, I'll just say this, and thanks for having me up, Doc. The reason why you have a study is because the study is going to give you information into how people are going to make decisions on how they're going to live their lives. If you don't do the study, then the study is going to end up being done by regular people living their normal lives. So we're going to have a lot of data in the next 10, 15 years on young women trying to do this alternative family creation thing. And it's going to tell people 10, 15, 20 years down the road, this is data we collated from actual people in real life. And that's going to be the data. That's going to be the study. So it's unfortunate that that's going to be the case. But I mean, it's just, our biology has not changed that much in 300 years, in 60 years. So if young ladies think that they can beat, 100,000 years, 10,000, 15,000 years of biology because they feel like it, I hope that works out for you.
Okay, so PassportOG, your point was so a study. You're saying they should do a study to track the mutations?
No, I think they should just do a study on how many men over 50, 55 had children, and what percentage of those children had what percentage of so and such these defects that everyone's talking about, and put the hard facts on the table so that everyone can see it, as opposed to this kind of like this idea that, oh, well, men are aging the same way as women and it feels good. But no one's saying what percentage of men conceiving children over 55 are X defect. Like, if I want to see that number, I don't care about the feelings. But if people don't want to see that number and they feel a certain way about it, then you're just going to get this conjecture of all these stories and never get the number, which makes people feel good, but still doesn't answer the question, right? So,
yeah,
as a scientist, you want the information, not the feelings. So
I agree.
You know that.
I agree. But it's interesting you say that. We've our institutions of higher learning have in part departed from that. And I don't know if you saw Jeff's latest set of interviews, but the Tuesday night one, she affirmed that even in the therapy sphere, that there are ideas being shoved in, okay, to indoctrinate even therapy patients. So there's this mass attempt to reshape how people think and how people see the world and how people experience life.
Well, Doc, you know that you could do that as much as you want to, but the scientific, how old is this scientific method? Is that the Greeks? How old is that?
Jesus, hundreds of years.
Like, you cannot rewrite that. So, idea, hypothesis, test it, write your conclusion, and then people read it and they do another experiment. That's the way it works. So if you don't like the way you feel about a certain conclusion or a certain hypothesis, that's the problem with your feelings. I mean, you go back a couple hundred years, people thought that the sun was going around the earth, and people figured out that that's wrong. It doesn't matter what you felt about it. It's wrong. So either you want the truth or you want to feel good. Which one you want? And if it's about feeling good, then it's not an academy anymore. It's not a college anymore. It's a feel-good society. And if it's that, then you can't treat it like a college. So this is what it is.
Yeah, facts versus feelings, relative truth versus absolute truth.
Do you want to get in an airplane that's based on feelings or based on facts?
Facts.
Yeah. Thanks for having me up, Doc.
Thanks. Keep up the good work.
Is this Ohio State this weekend?
No, that's in 2 weeks. This is the lead up.
Thanksgiving. That's right. Okay.
It's Thanksgiving weekend.
All right. Well, go Big Blue, I guess.
All right. Talk to you later.
Be good, Doc.
Peace. All right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the stream up. Some quick advertising before I wrap up. Thank you to Money Motion and Royston Gibbs and whomever else purchased a copy of my book. Consider this as a holiday gift for someone you know or someone you don't know. A gift for yourself or a young person in your circle. This is it's a basketball story. It's my story and the story of a lot of other kids from Western New York. But this is very much a story about changed environment. It's a manhood journey, and it involves many of the key themes that I espouse on this channel and on my main channel. And that's that manhood is a journey. Men are necessary, particularly for both boys and girls, but particularly in the lives of young boys growing into men. And if those men aren't there, then there are going to be deficits later on and issues later on. And it helps if those skill sets and those male mentors are there. That's a key theme of this book. So consider purchasing a copy. I'm selling signed copies here out of my domicile. I think that's the right word, my dwelling. For my YouTube subs, I'm selling the hardcover for $27 and the paperback for $22. Those are signed. I will mail those to you. Make sure you can use one of those methods in the ticker. If you do, make sure you send me your mailing address. And also, I do have an online store. And if you want to use plastic, my online store is here. And this book is also available on Amazon in the ebook, hardcover, and paperback editions. The prices here are listed. The listed prices are those on Amazon, but I can create coupon codes to reduce the prices to the ones that I just quoted to you. So let me know. I believe the link to the page. I have a whole page talking about the book if you want to read about it. That's in the description box, and there's a link there that leads to my online store. So stop that. The link is here. And yeah, thank you to everyone who participated in the stream, in the chat. Thank you to my brother Amal. I'm going to read some of your comments here because Don Calypso left some fire comments, and then I really need to run. Yeah, Don Calypso, I have 2 of these, the periodic table. I'm a science content creator, so the periodic table is synonymous with science. PassportOG, he's a STEM guy too. He says you can't write electron configurations without the 1s, 2s, 2p3. Those are the atomic orbitals. You bring back old memories. He says, Dr. Goodbar, this higher end of a woman's fertility window at age 49 is only valid if and only if she has already had children. A first pregnancy past 35 is very dangerous for women. Okay, thank you for that clarification, Don Calypso. He says a first pregnancy going to term at age 49 is a miracle. PassportOG says having a kid is only the beginning. Salute to Andre. He says, morning, Dr. Dunbar. PassportOG says, this modern American science is based all on feels. Okay, science should not be based on feels. It should be based on facts and data. Don Calypso says, by age 35, aren't women only down to about 10% or less of the eggs they had at birth? Yeah, so a woman that's fascinating because a fetus starts this big, and she has all of the eggs that she'll ever have at birth. That's something for people to keep in mind as well. Cynical Optimist says, sounds like female feeling pseudoscience. PassportOG says, marry young broke men. UFO Kamikaze entered the chat. Chaos Rain says, at 30, ladies got menopause. I'm not sure if that's true. I think it starts setting in later. 30 is considered a geriatric pregnancy. That's not talked about often, and I'm sure that's probably a flashpoint for a lot of people. But that technically, I think, is considered a geriatric pregnancy. Yep, UFO Kamikaze gets around. Andre says, men might have a biological clock, but it's still less harmful than with women. This is just cope. Sprint through the rest of these. Cynical Optimist says, interesting how they don't report on how free radicals and chemicals impact DNA. I wonder if there is any article about how chemicals in female products affects their DNA. Don Calypso says, Cynical Optimist, remember that all those women are tainted by radical feminist ideology and rabid misandry. They look for any angle to assert female supremacy over biological truth. Okay. If men experience an emotional rational decline after 30, then why is there a minimum age requirement to become president? Okay, UFO Kamikaze, that's a good point. Okay, I think I read that one. Don Calypso says, UFO kamikaze feminists will say that the minimum age for men to be POTUS is 35 because testosterone levels are lower and they are thus less aggressive. Let's see. Read that one. Don Calypso says, cynical optimist, the mechanisms of and effects of oxidative stress on DNA and endocrine system don't conform with feminist gender ideology. Don Calypso says, PassportOG, no idea if testosterone replacement therapy increases cancer risk, but you have to continue regular exercise and weightlifting. He says, I think Steve Martin also became a first-time dad in his 60s as well. And then, yeah, that's it. All right, everybody, I have to run. Thank you for watching. And also do your own research. Look this stuff up. Don't believe everything you see on social media. Even me, don't believe me. I mean, I do your own research. Be informed. Do your own research. Be informed. But just don't take things at face value. And try to go back as much as you can. Try to go back to the primary source. And do your own research. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. For those of you who are in the know, I have a big interview over on my main channel with Dr. L tomorrow at 3:30. So if you're not doing anything, please enjoy us. Please join us. Please join us and enjoy it. And if you're not able to join us live, watch it on the replay. All right, everyone. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you all the next time. Bye-bye.